My name is Ajisha Allen, and I am the Social Media Coordinator, Webmaster, and Marketing Officer of the ESA Student Section. And welcome to Day 4 of our ESA 2020 Student Highlights event, where we are highlighting students that are presenting at this annual meeting and would like to share about their research, their goals, and whatever else tips they have for the annual meeting and sharing their experiences. Today we have Karina, who is a SEEDS SPUR Fellow, who is super awesome. She presented her research at the conference, and she's also going to be talking about her experience with SEEDS as SPUR Fellow and her experience at this 2020 annual meeting. And we will, since today is officially the last day for the annual meeting, although this is not the last day for a highlight event, we do have one scheduled tomorrow and hopefully one scheduled Saturday. So we definitely want to stay connected, but today we'll be talking about Karina, what she does. So now I'm going to have Karina introduce herself, her interests, like where she's from, and let's go from there.
So, hi everyone, I'm Karina Cortijo-Robles. So, I'm from Puerto Rico, Carolina, to be precisely. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy for Aisha to be making like these beautiful meetings. And, ESA 2020 meeting was a little bit, like crazy at the first time because it was virtual, but actually helped me a lot. And yeah, I'm a SPUR fellow. That's how I conducted my research last year in Michigan State University. ESA SEEDS program is the best. It just opened me so many great opportunities. You just have to try it. In those opportunities, you can be a SPUR fellow or a SPUR fellowship. They actually bring opportunities to minority groups to do research, to attend to leadership meetings, to attend to national field trips, and in the end, you can present your research in the annual meeting, and it's so great. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Thank you, Karina. Yes, SEEDS is awesome. We all love SEEDS, and we all love Fred for putting it all together and managing it so well and just providing so many opportunities to students. I don't know if he's in the live because I can't see, but if you're there, Fred, thank you again. I'm going to give you a shout out every day because we're always talking with someone from the SEEDS family. So yeah, thank you so much, Fred, for giving us all this opportunity and for putting everything together. And Teresa for all of your hard work too to just manage the program. So now, Karina, I am going to ask you to talk about your research, like your project, what you presented this annual meeting, and also a little bit about your origin story, like where you found this project. So we definitely want to know about that too. So go ahead.
So when I do this for fellowship application, this is like my tiny story. I wasn't trying to get accepted. I was actually passing for a really rough time in my life. So actually, I have a friend named Mariela. So she told me oh, Karina, there's so great opportunity. The SPUR fellowship, just apply. And actually, this SPUR fellowship was my only application for that summer. So it's great because actually in the SPUR fellowship, you can apply to 3 different sites. So it's just one application for 3 internship opportunities. So that's that's so great. And I actually get to be in the SPUR fellowship, and I did it with Michigan State University. My mentor was Meredith Lemoyer, and we actually study how climate change may affect plant soil feedback. So I have received many comments on Twitter and about that. Many people are seeing or saying that my research is pretty complex to understand, but I will explain it as simple as possible because I know it's hard for me actually to in the beginning when I was trying to understand climate soil feedback. So actually we know climate change is real. We know that it's happening, and we're expecting to an increasing temperature of 3 to 6 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. So climate change will likely cause shifts in interactions between species. So we can have interactions between plants and their pollinators, between birds and the food sources, but we can also have a shift in interaction between plant and their soil organism. So this relationship between plants and soil organism is called plant soil feedback. So the definition for plant soil feedback is that actually the plant changes the composition of microbes around the plant root, and this will cause a change in the plant growth. So we are seeing some relationship between the plant and their soil organism in the soil. So it's like we can think about it like a relationship. Um, so we want to answer, or we were like, we see so many papers, and the paper was were like telling, oh, we know flying soil feedback exists, but we don't know how flying soil feedback may respond to climate change. So that was actually our research question: how climate change will be affect or will affect flying soil feedback. So for this, we use an experimental warming ring in the Kellogg Biological Station that is in Michigan. So I was really curious in the beginning because I didn't know how these all scientists do like this climate warming experiment. But we actually have these rings that have heaters. So the heaters will raise the temperature, the ambient temperature by 3 degrees Celsius. And then we have another plot with ambient temperature. They didn't have any heaters. So we grew all the plants there. So we grew stem and stem species because we also want to know, oh, flying soil feedback will differ between a stem and stem species. Temperature will affect stem and stem species in both ambient and warm temperatures. So there are so many questions in this research. But yeah, we measure flying soil feedback in stem and stem species. Then we planted the plants in all these feeding rings. That is the name that we call it, like experiment. And then we collected the soils. And in the greenhouse, we grew tiny seedlings of all the stem and stem species. And we put it in the soil from all the stem and stem species in both ambient and warm temperature. So the flying soil feedback experiments are like really complex. You have to be sure that you're like no contaminating the soil or anything else. So yeah, it was hard that experiment. But in the end, we found that stem species respond more to soil communities, while stem species respond more to temperature. So we're seeing like, oh, like stem species respond more to soil community, stem species respond more to temperatures. And many people just ask me, oh, why do you think that stem species are responding more to temperature and stem species don't respond to temperature? This is mostly because stem species might have like disappeared early enough before they can actually feel this difference in temperatures, and then stem species actually are persisting in the field. So they're like continuously experimenting these warming temperatures that are happening because of climate change. So yeah, that's my whole research story. A
Yeah.
little bit complex, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I understand the whole control measures because I work in a microbiome lab. Air contaminates everything, so
Yeah.
everything does. Like, it's literally the smallest change will just affect your entire experiment. And I can just imagine you trying to do that in a greenhouse and not in a lab, just to control all of that. That just seems like a lot of work. I do want to ask you
Yeah.
one question though. You mentioned two different types of species. I didn't catch like the spelling. Like what spelling is it? So I just so I can know what it is exactly. So it's I see. I'm not.
Extinct, yeah. Species that have disappeared,
Oh,
and
extinct.
instead,
Oh,
yeah, and instead species that are
that's
persisting in their field.
right. So
Yeah.
extant. So what? How do you spell that? So extinct I know, but what is the other one? Like what's how do you spell that?
Yeah, mostly my pronunciation is not really good, but I pronounce it like stan species. Like I will write it here in the
Yeah, I was just
stan.
curious because I've never heard of that. So I got the extinct one, but I was like, oh, that was a word. That's an actual word. I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
like that same question. I was presenting this research also in March in the Midwest Ecology Evolution Conference, and the people actually like were asking me about like, oh, what is like stan? What are you referring with that name? So great question.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
because
you.
your pronunciation was fine. I got the extinct, but I was like, I didn't know that extent was an actual word, so I wanted to confirm.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's an actual word. So you said you compared the extinct versus the extant species. How did you find samples for the extinct ones?
So my mentor has like some seedlings that she actually saved.
Oh,
Yeah.
Have you made any attempts to like reintroduce that to the ecosystem, like try to bring that back from extinction?
Like my mentor also do like another experiment with nitrogen addition with the same species that I work with. So yeah, I don't know if she was trying to like trying to plant the plants again, but yeah,
So
that's a
you said
question that
nitrogen adhesion. Is that with like microbes, like that do nitrogen fixing?
yeah.
Oh, cool. That's interesting. Oh my god, this brings back like my high school days where I learned about environmental science and nitrogen fixing. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I'm from India, so like we were surrounded by paddy fields and farming in general. So I'm pretty, I'm familiar with a lot of those terms. But yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
that's super cool. Like you actually compared an extinct versus an extant species.
Same
It's just
species.
yeah, and you maintained that in a controlled setting and actually got results. That is just so fantastic, and I am honestly super happy that you said that because honestly, I feel sometimes because my experiment took one experiment of mine took like 6 months to work, like trials over trials because one step could go wrong, like the temperature would be like 1 degree higher and it would like go away or something like that. So the effort that goes into conducting an experiment, again, since we're going to be posting this, I just want to say to people who don't know what goes behind the scenes when we do a research project, the efforts is just so you have to pay attention to the
Yeah.
tiniest details. Otherwise, you're gonna lose your experiment track. So that's pretty important. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing about your research. So now let's go on to, since you already talked about your experience with seeds and the SPUR fellowship, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had Karina yesterday talk about it too. So today, now you wanted to talk about how the meeting experience was for you. So yeah,
Oh,
shout out to talks. What was your favorite like session? I hope you say the student section mixer. Did you attend the mixer?
no.
Oh, I heard from Karina that she didn't attend either, and I'm like, oh no, it was a fun
I'm
trivia session.
sorry.
That's okay. I know you would have been probably double booked somewhere, but yeah, did you watch the award ceremony?
Neither.
Oh, that's on YouTube, so don't worry, you can watch it
Yeah.
anytime. But yeah, I really so that was my favorite session. I did attend a lot of talks. That was super. So there was one talk that I watched on influenza epidemic curves, like predicting influenza epidemic curves. And they also had another one with 8 different viruses and predicting epidemic trends. So that's my side of like disease
That's great.
epidemiology and disease ecology and microbial ecology. It was super exciting to see. And population dynamics for pathogen like environment interactions. I read saw so many things. So I work
Mm-hmm.
primarily with the host. So within the host, like how the pathogen interacts within the host. But those projects were based on pathogens interacting with the environment and the host interacting with the environment for disease. And I'm like,
That's great.
wow, that was so cool. So what about you? So what were your like kind of favorite talks?
So, oh my God, I don't know if you feel the same, but I was overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the,
First day
you know,
burned out.
yeah, the weekend before the conference, I was trying to see all like you see like my favorite list. I have a lot of talks that I want to like to see, but actually, it was a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the diverse, like the discussion panels. I attend mostly of them, and they were like amazing. Like today, I was in the one about COVID-19 and the opportunities in science because of the pandemic. That was really great. I love it. And I actually see another talk. It was like 5 minutes, but it was
Inspire
amazing.
session?
I, I don't know.
Because usually the 5 minute talks are inspire sessions.
Yeah,
So
she was talking about how the pharmaceuticals, objects, and all these products that we use for the beauty are actually contaminating all the watered bodies, and we're not seeing that. And actually, we have all this contamination, and we also pollution, and we also have the effect of climate change. So everything is
it's like
like
a piling up on top
making
of
it
each
worse.
other and it's just getting worse. And yeah, and for me, like this pandemic has shown so much as to how if there's no people, how much the environment benefits from it. I saw a lot of studies that were done like, okay, everything's doing much better now that people are not around. So, but yeah, it's just like a piling up. When we were young, when I was in high school, we had an entire subject just for environmental science. So that was part of our curriculum. And just looking at to see like the ozone like layer just having holes and all of that stuff, I was like, we're actually living in this planet, and we're really kind of not helping the situation. Not everybody is, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's so yeah. What other talks?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you see like the indigenous talk. It was that the working hour. It was so great. They
Yeah,
were talking about opportunities for the indigenous tribes and how we can help them and
yeah,
how we can actually do research with them and try to respect them like their tradition, because actually they have some knowledge that it will be like really beneficial and will help
yeah.
to actually do restoration projects. And
And
you know,
yeah, because they are most familiar with their surroundings, and for us who want to do research with them, that's definitely. I wanted to see that, but again, I was like full on like switching between grad school fair and here,
yeah,
so I didn't get to see a lot of those talks. I did try to pop into as many live like asynchronous Q&As for talks and posters as much as I can. I left comments on a lot of people I knew. Yeah, and I did not get to all of the seed students. I'm gonna try to see if I can get to them today. I don't know when the asynchronous Q&A actually ends. I'm not
hmm,
sure. I don't know if it's 11:59 today. If it is, probably gotta get to a bunch of them and just leave comments, be like, "Good job," just so they can
yeah,
see
yeah,
their
yeah.
efforts.
I was trying to see talks, but I don't know. I think I don't. It's not lost time, but I spent also a good time amount of time in Twitter. It was like
Yeah,
my first time,
yeah,
and I was really interested in knowing about research that combine anthropology and environmental science, and I just found like just one research about
wow.
paleoecology in the whole ESA platform.
So, what
So I
ecology
was
did you mention? What
paleoecology.
paleoecology? Just one?
Yeah,
Just one? Oh.
just one. It was like really weird. I think maybe there are like more research, um, but
Did you
in
try
that
the
moment
posters? Did you try the posters?
I just put like the search button and I just put
Oh,
paleoecology
yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
just
an
like see.
issue. Yeah, that's an issue because like the search is not specific. So there might be more talks than you know, but you can't really go individually through all of them. But I would suggest, since it's all going to be on demand, just go through them, see if you can find another one. There's probably a bunch of other ones, just you can't see them because the search is too broad. Unless you know the
Mhm.
title, it's going to be really hard for you to find a session. So yeah, even my session, I gotta
Yeah,
put in my title before I find it. Even if I put my name, I have like a bunch of other sessions that come out. So yeah.
yeah. So
So
I just put like in Twitter like, oh, I'm trying to connect with paleoecologists and paleontologists, and maybe like in the first 2 hours, like nobody was responding me, and I was like, okay, maybe there's no one there. But after I just have like 20 notifications, and I was like, oh my god, this is a lot, a
yeah.
lot. It was a great people. They were like actually, oh Karina, if you're interested in graduate school, just see my website, just email me some
Yeah.
questions. So I think I have spent like more time trying to connect with paleontologists in Twitter, but it's something that ESA totally just helped me, and just like being in
Yeah.
Twitter was
I mean,
great.
that's not, I mean, that's why the meeting is for. Like, you get that hashtag, you get that connections. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is a, like, when you use it as a professional network, it helps you everywhere. I mean, I, myself, a lot of people commented on, like, PhD programs I could pursue. I mean, I spend time on that, like, all week. I try to jump in and off of talks and also, like, just market, like, student presentations as much as I can. Yeah, but I still I'm like, what if I miss somebody? I try to retweet everybody, and I give out shout outs to people who actually personally reach out to me and they wanted to do like a recording. So making sure that the students are highlighted, because obviously this is a new experience for everybody. Everybody who meant would have meant to like
Yeah.
actually be in person, present, talk to people, have face to face conversations, make connections. They're now all on virtual platform that is not gonna have that option. So just like direct people to like presentations, and then another thing I always recommend is just do the Q&A. There's the connect button for like the presenters, like in that page. You can definitely
Yeah.
just connect with them, and it will give you their email information, and just email them. Like
Yeah.
if you're not able to talk to them during the meeting, email them after. I'm pretty sure that information will still be available when it's on demand. So if you didn't get to talk
Yeah.
to them, you can definitely reach out to them, and also type in their name on your Twitter. They probably will show up if they're on Twitter. Or like on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is another thing that if you're looking for like a professional network, like a job, like an employer, or somebody you want to connect with professionally, type their name in on LinkedIn. They're probably on there. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, that's something I do highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. And yeah,
Yeah.
if you miss talks or posters, it's fine. Go back to them and then email them if you have questions. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to answer. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I know many thesis students. Like I talk with my mentor, and I just tell her like, "Oh, can you send me some email template that I can use to address to the scientists because
yeah,
I want to be like professional."
yeah,
And yeah, totally. Like if you want to connect with some scientists or ecologists, just ask for help with your
yeah.
mentor
And
or
again,
Haisha. I know Haisha is just beautiful. She's just great. She's
yeah.
going to
Oh,
help
thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you. I was about to say, like, if you wanted an email template, I'd be happy to provide it. So that's one of the things I mentioned. I think in our like student orientation. I still haven't put that video up on YouTube. I should soon because that's like the whole description and an introduction to the meeting. But yeah, I would be happy to work with you to set up an email because I do that a lot. Given that I reach out to PIs professionals all the time. And I remember I posted like a job opening that someone reached out to me, and then any resource I have, I'd be happy to share. So please reach out to me, email, and then definitely LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm everywhere with my full name, and now Twitter was like the only one that I didn't use for anything. It was if you look through my Twitter, like before the last couple weeks, it would probably only been like ESA student section tweets. But
Mhm.
now I'm also active on Twitter, on my personal Twitter, so you reach out to me, text me, make sure you connect with me. LinkedIn is another great place. You can connect with me and I can connect you with professionals or jobs. Whatever you want to do, let me know. If I know people, I'll let them know. If I don't know people, I'll try to find people who know people. So it's kind of like a string. I always tell people like making connections is a string. You know
Yeah.
people who know people who know people, and
No
that's kind of
people.
how you kind of make your like network the broadest that you can. Now that we talked about that, that was like what I wanted to touch on because that's a takeaway from the meeting. Since we're like
Hmm.
kind of officially over, like connect with us, like the student section, connect with Seeds. We have so many opportunities, and we are trying to. If you need resume reviews, if you weren't able to make those slots, like CV, resume, mock interviews, reach out to us, give us an email, and we'd be happy to set you up with mentors or students who can do that. And today, actually, in my interview session, I met two people who were actually happy to help work with us to mentor students if they need it. And I'm like,
Great.
cool. I actually even haven't talked to anybody else about it because literally I've been in meetings ever since. But yeah, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to set you up with people because we do know a lot of people. We are the largest section of ESA. So
Mhm.
happy to be a resource, and thank you so much, Karina, for saying that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Like I have a really good time. Like in Twitter, like the people was
I
amazing,
know
and I
they.
think I know a lot of ESA like thesis students are actually in the program
Mhm.
through like Twitter. Like that was great.
Yeah, and they're so supportive and so appreciative of the work that you do.
Oh,
It's just this one big happy family that everybody loves you and appreciates the work that you do. Such a great community. Honestly, I love it. So now let's look at the questions. If there's any that we need answered, and we can just start that. So give me 1 second. Let me say like something for the YouTube video. I don't know
mhm.
why. So, thank you so much for joining us today on our Facebook Live. We are going to have a Q&A session in a bit. But right now we're done. We had Karina, who's awesome, who talked with us a lot about our research, what she took away from the annual meeting, how to stay connected after the annual meeting, and the SEEDS program. Another big shout out to the SEEDS program and to Fred and Teresa for putting together such a wonderful program that serves such a diverse community. And this video will be uploaded on YouTube by tonight, most probably. So please stay tuned for that. If you missed it, then you can definitely check it out on YouTube. And also, if any of the people you know from ESA or any of your friends who want to see this video but missed it, it will be on YouTube.